looking like we have a deal on Gaza. And we'll let you know. I think it's a deal that will get the hostages back. It's going to be a deal that will end the war. It's going to be a deal it's going to be peace.
Not the first time we've heard the president say that a deal is in the works. He hasn't been right in any real way in the past, but that's not it's not his fault, okay? And here's why I say that. My position on Israel is very clear and transparent. I don't see an alternative to the position that Israel has a right to exist. But what I'm saying is I am surprised that President Trump, I was surprised that President Biden, I thought that they were going to run away from this. This is so sticky. It's so fraught. It's so low percentage to get to a better place that with the state of American politics, I got to tell you, it is brave for American presidents to want to get involved. I got to be honest. Look at what happened with Israel's prime minister, by the way, who isn't always the easiest guy to defend, by the way, when he gave a very defiant speech today at the UN. Take a listen.
You know what message the leaders who recognize the Palestinian state this week sent to the Palestinians? It's a very clear message. Murdering Jews pays off. Well, I have a message for these leaders. When the most savage terrorists on earth are effusively praising your decision, you didn't do something right. You did something wrong, horribly wrong. To the remaining Hamas leaders and to the jailers of our hostages, I now say, lay down your arms. Let my people go. Free the hostages, all of them, the whole 48. Free the hostages now.
Dozens of delegates walked out before the prime minister even started speaking. So what is the state of play? What is the likelihood of a deal? Let's bring in a foreign policy expert, understands the conflict as well, if not better than anybody, Harley Lippman. Harley, good to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So one take on Netanyahu's speech was, oh, you see, Israel doesn't want Palestine to have a state. They don't want a two-state solution. Genocide, that is a big reaction all over social media. What did you make of the impact of the speech and the idea that there could be a deal?
Well, first, let me just respond to what you said, that Israel doesn't want a Palestinian nation. Look at Gaza for the last 15 years. Israel withdrew from Gaza on their own under the leadership of General Sharon. So Gaza has been functioning pretty much as a country. And what did Israel get for it? The biggest massacre since the Holocaust. That's a powerful thing that people have to understand, because you cannot understand the Israeli nation today or the Jewish people unless you understand how that trauma has changed everything for Israel going forward. Because Israel, up until then, yeah, you're going to say something?
No, go ahead, Harley. You're much more interesting than I am.
No, I'm just saying, because up until then, Israel thought they were kind of good to go. About 10 years ago, they checked out on vigilance, which is why they were surprised on October 7th. They checked in on entrepreneurship, having more startups on the internet than any country in the world per person than the United States. And they lost sight of the security in the dangerous neighborhood they're in. Huge, dramatic wake-up call. So Israel is being proactive and going after the enemy first. That said, the real issue here is, to your point, when you said you believe that Israel has a right to exist, everybody misses the fundamental here. What we are seeing is that nothing has changed in 80 years. The Palestinians want one nation, Palestine. They want to destroy Israel. It's boring, it's not sexy, but that is really what it is. And the proof is October 7th, and let me explain why. They didn't attack the settlements. If you remember, up until now, everybody would say the settlements is what's holding up two-state solution. That's the problem. No attack was made on the settlements. Who did they attack? The poorest of Israeli communities, which is along the border with Gaza, and of the entire Israeli society, the most pro-Palestinian of Israelis live on the border of Gaza. They went in, murdered every Jew they could find, burned children in front of their parents, people in wheelchairs they set on fire in front of their families, raped and tortured. What does that tell you? And they said they'll do it again and again. And there's been a lot of surveys done in the Middle East, in the West Bank and Gaza Strip, that says they support October 7th. The majority of the people, even today, support October 7th. So everybody has to take a step back and realize Israel is just trying to survive. They don't want to be in Gaza. They left, like I just said 15 years ago. And when you look at the conflict there, I'm going to make an analogy with the United States with the Civil War. If Newsnation and CNN was at Gettysburg, the war would have never continued. If the American people in the North saw 50,000 people killed in 3 days, remember how small America was then? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, they would have said already there was huge resistance against Lincoln saying, pull out, let the South succeed. And we stayed with it. And what happened? It ended slavery. That's my point. If also Newsnation was in Europe during World War II and saw that we deliberately were trying to kill as many civilians in Germany as possible, along with the British doing that, I think also the American people would have said, oh my God, you got to stop this. The problem is every night you see on the news terrible, terrible stories of innocent Palestinians being killed. And so that has given people an emotional reaction who have good intentions to say, oh my God, Israel is a really bad country.
Well, look, the devastation and destruction has tremendous scale and scope. The one thing I have faulted the idea from jump is not having free media on the ground there. I understand the safety concerns, but there are always safety concerns. They would have been better served by a fair telling of the reality on the ground, other than just an image of how terrible everything is. Harley Lippman, I appreciate your perspective very much, laying out the state of play and why a deal is tenuous at best right now. So we'll see what the President of the United States can do. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Harley Lippman, 4 minutes and 15 seconds.